So what is the final report? If you're doing a buy side assignment, what does the final report look like? Are you making a score? Are you making an evaluation or what are you doing?
Yeah. The final report. So the deliverables, for most projects. So there's going to be the P&L rebuild, and that's like one of the core pieces. And so it's literally, we have, and this is something I'm actually like, so I'm not an accountant. I'm learning a lot about accounting, now as the CEO of a due diligence company. But yeah, so we have the P&L rebuild that's like delivered, that's a separate file, Excel file of the P&L. And like, this is something I actually recently learned that I think is super cool. But we utilize like a method or a process called like audit trails or audit trailing, which basically means we're not just plugging in numbers into spreadsheets. Like all the data is on the sheets and like dynamically synced and formulated. And so when you look at any one column, it's not just the number. You can actually dive in and be like, oh, well, like this
So
number.
here's the history of the number. That's kind of a blockchain thing, isn't it?
I mean, sort of, yeah. I mean, it's all about like, transparency and being able to, and so this is something that, yeah, one of the like, I think this is a significant improvement that we've, implemented where like, as a buyer, there's just more transparency and you can look through the sheet and see like, okay, like this number, you can follow where the numbers came from. It's not just like an input. And this is something that's like, this is standard practice with like big accounting firms and consulting firms. But again, this is like, the vision for Centurica is to really bring like, a high level of professional service delivery to these online business assets. And I think that's a big opportunity because a few macro trends. So we've got on the sell side, the online business assets themselves are professionalizing. The businesses are, it's not just a guy in his basement refreshing affiliate earnings. People are building, 7, 8, 9 figure e-commerce, SaaS, some super big content websites. They have teams, they're the CEO. It's like the businesses themselves are professionalizing. And then on the buy side, there's becoming a lot more professional interest. And so what do I mean by that? Private equity that 5, 10 years ago wouldn't touch a mid 7 or 8 figure e-commerce brand. Now, they are interested. And, a private equity buyer has a different level of, requirements of things they're looking for than if you're an inexperienced individual buying a $50,000 website versus a private equity firm buying, a $10 million e-commerce store. Like there's expectations as well as opportunity to kind of meet that higher end client, which that's one path that I'm really committed to, of continuing to professionalize so that we can really, act as like a bridge between the gap of these more professional buyers, private equity, the roll-up funds and aggregators, family offices that are interested in these online assets. And we want to deliver like a very, a high professional level service. Anyway, this whole audit tracing or audit trails is a part of that. And so like basically our P&L deliverable is like fairly robust. You get the P&L, the rebuild versus the seller, the deltas, it's all organized and categorized categorized. So we deliver that to the buyer, and like they have
So
questions and like, oh, why is your cost of goods 3% higher or lower? And, why are you missing, there's a 10% gap in insurance fees. Why do you have and we need to be able to, explain these things. And also in having that like, audit trail, it answers a lot of questions because, a savvy, finance person can look at that sheet and like that answers a lot of questions preemptively because we're like showing our work basically.